Hello everyone, I am Jerry the Bacventini and you're watching What's Your Poison's Beer versus Beer. It's been a while since I've been around since I was on vacation back in 2025. However, I'm back, dressed for the occasion, with a good beer in hand. And not only that, we've got Wildman Wes of Dragonfire Entertainment, as well as Pilsner Hopman coming back from BRW after he had a little bit of a stint resting from some spicy jalapeno ales. I'm surprised how everything's gonna go down, and we only have just begun. I'm gonna take you over to Wildman Wes so he can start us off for the day.
Thanks, Jerry, and welcome back from your vacation. We're glad you're back safe and sound, and we hope you had some really great beers while you were away. As Jerry mentioned, I am Wildman Wes of What's Your Poison's Beer versus Beer. And we do have another guest here. At first, I was a little bit skeptical and nervous, but in a way, I'm kind of glad he's back. Please welcome from Beer Reviewers Worldwide, none other than Pilsner Hopman. Pilsner, welcome back. I know it's been a while, and I understand you did have some physical issues from the last time you were here, but I'm glad that we could put our differences aside and make sure that we could come to an agreement on a beer versus for a change.
Well, I want to say that the pleasure is all mine, even though I am happy that I'm back here to kind of give you a little more expertise from my experience of beer drinking, because I'm the GOAT. I'm the greatest of all time. They're undisputed, actually. However, I did see the error of my ways when it came to those spicy beers, and I figure doing a truce with you might be in the best for both of our interests right now. And I also know the fact that you and I love IPAs, and I figure maybe we could, in this truce, figure out a way to understand each other better and, who knows, maybe become friends, maybe even have a tribe, if you will. I'm not going to make any promises on my end, but I hope that we can at least make bygones be bygones for this review today.
Well, let's hope that this truce lasts longer than we think. Pilsner and I decided that we were going to put two beers from the same brewery against each other and of similar styles. We have from Floyds Brewing in Munster, Indiana, two different types of pale ale of the zombie styles. And we're going to start off with the Zombie Dust. This one is one of the pillars of Floyds Brewing when it comes to their IPAs. If my mind serves me right, yes, this is 6.5% in ABV. It is quite a pale ale. I had this years ago, and I've always enjoyed it. We're going to pour this in, and we're definitely getting that copper, almost West Coast style look to it. Somewhat clean. The head consistency is very marshmallowy, very frothy. I'm going to take that smell here. Yeah, it definitely has a West Coast style maltiness and somewhat dank. Here we go. I've always enjoyed this pale ale. It's very refreshing, and not just that, it definitely is hearty, but it goes down smooth. When it comes from my grade, I will say in retrospect, if you do have quite a number of these, you're going to feel a little sluggish. And I will say, I'm going to say 4 out of 5 on this one, because even as much as I love it, there's a reason why I may not have had it for a long time. And it could be just due to the fact that I'm having a lot of beers lately, and maybe it's time for me to slow down slightly. But only time will tell on that. Pilsner, what are your thoughts on this one?
For the most part, I haven't drank a lot of things from Floyds other than their IPAs, and I know we've talked a little bit, or at least you've talked about it with your good friend Hefe, about Floyds being a little pretentious when it comes to their IPAs, because that's most of the beers that they do. However, I know that you have realized they do more than just that, and I have started to notice it too. However, I will believe it when I see it if they're good when I try them, but I have to look at this, and I do agree. This beer has a very, very good West Coast color to it. Dankness, I could say, yeah. All right. I will take a drink. I'm gonna have to agree with you. That is the weirdest thing that I'm going to say right now. I'm agreeing with Wes. That, yes, this is a very tasty, very dry, and yet very subtle but heavy IPA. I'm gonna say 4 out of 5 as well, because there's nothing popping for me on this one. It's not extreme the way I want it to be. And that's okay. However, I'm just getting a little bit perturbed of the fact that I'm actually agreeing with Wes on this one. But then again, I mentioned the truce. It is what it is. Wes, why don't you just go ahead and tell us the next beer? I'm perplexed on this.
I gotta say, Pilsner, I'm rather impressed that we can actually agree on the same grade for a beer. I wonder what is in store for the rest of this episode, really. With our opponent for Zombie Dust, we have Zombie Ice. This is a double IPA that is 8.5% in ABV. And what I remember from it is, I want to say slightly, definitely not hazy. So yeah, that just goes to show how long it's been since I've had this. It does look pretty much exactly like Zombie Dust in every way. Very copper, very frothy head consistency. A little bit thinner than Zombie Dust's. We're going to do that little sniff. It has more of a dankness. I want to say it definitely has a citra hop in there, and maybe even... definitely one of the other hops that gives this, it almost smells like a cryo hop. I'm not sure because it does not say it on here. If my mind serves me right, let me check. No. Well, I know I didn't do my homework a little bit, and Pilsner, maybe I'm in the same boat with you, but you can tell me the truth if you really want to when it's your turn. Or I digress. It's time to have a sip of this. Yeah, this one definitely has a dryness and a dank that rivals Zombie Dust. I do enjoy it, and not just that, even though at the about 6.5% that the Zombie Dust is, it goes down very hearty, very almost heavy. This one, even with a little higher ABV, this one goes down a little smoother, and I enjoy that a lot, and the flavor is just spot on. I want to go ahead and say 4.5 on this one because even though it does taste better than Zombie Dust, I wouldn't say it's one of the perfect IPAs I've ever had. And that's just me. However, Pilsner, it's still, time for you to have your say in this matchup.
Well, the Zombie Dust definitely had a good amount of flavor, and with what you've said about Zombie Ice, I can't believe I'm doing this, and what I'm saying right now, that I actually am starting to understand why they call you the master of the IPAs. Yeah, I agree with you on the fact that this looks a little bit like the Zombie Dust. With the lighting that I'm getting, I'm actually getting a bit of a haze. Maybe that's just because we're on two different sides of the studio. Smelling this, there's a sweetness to it, and that I actually am appreciating very much. Let's just take a drink now on my end. That is definitely something a little bit more special than the Zombie Dust. We all know that everybody that is a fan of Three Floyds, they do appreciate the good old pillar stalwart of Zombie Dust. However, Zombie Ice, it's not the GOAT. But then again, which one truly is? Besides myself, but I digress. I want to agree with you a little bit on that 4.5 out of 5. but I do have to have a little bit of, what's the word I'm looking for? Rebellious nature. I'm gonna say 4 1/4 just because I don't want to agree with you on everything. Which, wow, looking at the grades, there's no contest on this one. Wow, okay, I'm sold. Thank you, Wes, for having me here, and I'm going to sip on this as much as I can. I'll leave you alone for a little while because I know that you're going to be going through surgery soon, and I want to make sure that I'm not causing any stress or any problems for you during your recovery time. That's just my way of being nice for a change.
Well, Pilsner, I do appreciate the well wishes for a speedy recovery down the line for myself. And with our grades, the winner for this beer versus beer is Zombie Ice from 3 Floyds. This is kind of an interesting episode, and I'm glad that we got to do this. Thank you again, Pilsner, for being a part of this. And as I said, I hope down the line, when we have more of these together, we can still find some common ground and not go back to what we did in the beginning. Until then, I'm Wildman Wes, and we're going to close out by sending you back over to Jerry. So, Jerry, your thoughts?
Holy Moses, what a coup just happened in front of us. Wildman Wes and Pilsner Hopman actually agreeing on some beers, even if one of them did not be a full-on agreement, it became the winner of this episode. Wow, I'm surprised as much as you are. If you've had these beers before and you agree with them, you leave that thumbs up. If not, we totally understand. Also, make sure you share on social media, but push that subscribe button. At this time, I'd like to thank our sponsors. We've got Beer You, Beer Me, as well as Beard Wizard Man, and let's not forget the Blue Ribbon Lounge podcast. Until then, I'm Jerry the Bach Ventini, and we'll see you next time on What's Your Poison. Cheers.